Welcome to STEEPCAST 45, and we can guarantee you that this will not last 4 excruciating years.
The snowboard's been waxed and the chocolate is hot. STEEPCAST reporting to you live from the top of Mount Blanc. Snow missed me, making you miss me. Cause I'm hucking it up 12, I'll throw it into a misty.
The TFG Slopestyle Finals are this Saturday, November 14th, 1 p.m. Eastern, and congrats to the top 10 who made it in. We have them on screen right now in case you missed it, but if you did, go back and watch the qualifiers right now because all of the runs were amazing.
Our friends over at Red Bull released an article this week. They took the time to sit down with the developers of Riders Republic and discuss what the differences are between Steep and Riders and why we needed this change so much. Mitch and I are going to touch on this briefly during the main topic right before we get to the dev blog.
Speaking of, our video on the 5th developer blog is live right now on our channel, so if you want all of the facts that they mentioned, head over to that video with the link down below.
All right, you know what time it is. Get those headphones off, Mitch, because it's time for the Reddit Roundup!
Our first post this week comes from, you already know, UNH Penn, and he is kicking it off with a wingsuit, but a nice line going through the tiny gap in this ruin, and then going going below the avalanche fencing, so linking a few tricks together.
Next up, are we playing the same clip again from Unpen? Oh no. Oh, we got a beautiful little hole-in-one skydive through 1. There he goes, coming up to 2 through the window. Oh, I love these slow motion cuts through all of these different gaps. Makes it through the trees, around the telephone pole, coming down onto another concrete feature. Geez, oh man, 1 and 2. Get it, Unpen. Yes, sir. That was a ton of fun to watch.
Third, we got a picture from Jordan0809 of a picture on the mountain of 2 dudes hugging while he flies by the wingsuit right at their ankles. And you know, sometimes after a long day of riding, all you need is a hug.
Love always wins, buddy. We'll talk about spreading some love. The legend Mekish, aka Steepest Legend, showing some love to the artist Avicii with a killer rendition of one of his albums. There he is, posting his name Steepest Legend on his album artwork. I cannot tell the difference. Oh, he also has Ubisoft in that bottom left corner. Geez, the attention to detail from this guy. Well done.
And finally, to cap off the Reddit Roundup, we have a satisfying and relaxing wingsuit sunset flight through the map from DI4SS, and I love this ambiance at the end of a day, and he's going through, actually underneath that long ramp at the Lumberjack area in Alaska. One of my favorite places to ski, but I have never thought to use the wingsuit before, and he's gonna go through the crane as well.
Thank you as always to all of you who are over there on r/steep, keeping it fresh. Coming up next, Mitch and I are going to dive into dev blog number 5 for Riders Republic. Well, I think we should say this right out of the gate. This, at the time of recording, this is not public on the US page for Riders Republic, but hopefully by now it should be up on the US page. So head on over to ubisoft.com, find Riders Republic, and you can read along. Or you can always click on Mitch's review of the developers' blogs on our YouTube page, where he sits down the minute that these things go public, reads out everything that you need to know so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy that sultry Canadian voice.
Well, thank you there, bud. Well, like you said, it came up on the Swedish webpage first, and I think also the German one, so if you're ever constantly refreshing the Ubisoft news page to see when the news drops, try a couple different countries because maybe you'll be the first to know. With that, this article was about building the world of Riders Republic, and what jumped out most to you?
Well, what caught my eye from the get-go was the fact that they said they implemented beauty spots all over the world, and I'm really interested to know what beauty spots are. Is that just a gorgeous valley that they made specifically for taking pictures and everything in? Are there going to be any specific features that we can access in the game? Like, is the game going to let us know that this is a beauty spot that we're sitting in?
I'm wondering if this will be a place, like Half Dome or an iconic feature in Yosemite Valley, where if you went there in real life, there's the little tourist area where you can get the best photo of that spot. So maybe they're going to have like little areas you can go to, gather up, and then enjoy the beauty and some of the unique landmarks that are in this game.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a ton more sense to think about it that way, that they're just going to have these little iconic points that you can stop and take a picture like you would if you were actually in those parks. So on your first read through, what stood out to you the most? I mean, I know that you and I are both totally focused on the world and how that looks and how it will translate into content later down the road.
One of the things was how in detail and scientific they're getting with the map. I mean, I stumbled through recording that section because we got words like geomorphology, specificity, just big words, but it shows that they are really trying to make each part of the map feel super unique. When you think about steep, a lot of the mountains in the Alps, they have their, kind of unique identities where there's the Matterhorn that's steeper and has more rocks, but if you go over to Point Percé, it's got the same type of rock when it's a rock. When they talk about the differences in the locations in this game, they go down to different soil types, different rock types, why fragments appear in certain places and certain sizes, where there's snow, ice, mud, different types of mud. So I think riding on each mountain is going to be uniquely different.
So stop me if this is beating a dead horse, but I am getting ready to talk about haptic controllers again. So as we all know, the PlayStation 5 is set to release very soon. I still don't have my console pre-ordered, so I'm going to be going to Target or Walmart at 6 a.m. every single day to ask someone, do you have any more PlayStations? But as we move closer to the PlayStation 5 making its way into households across the world, I have to ask myself, it might not come out right at release of Riders Republic, but down the road, are they going to implement haptic trigger, haptic senses that is going to allow us to differentiate between all of these different soil types, the dirt, the grass, the rocks, gravel, the snow, ice, all of those different things could have a completely unique feel to them. And I'm really, really hoping that they come around and they give us a patch somewhere down the road that allows us to use that haptic controller to the fullest of its ability.
Yeah, that's something I'm super excited to see too. I know it's something specific to PlayStation 5 for now and that controller. And when it was first announced, a lot of people didn't think haptics and adaptive triggers were going to be that different. But as the reviews of these consoles come out, I see a lot of people saying that that's what makes it feel next gen. And in some of the PlayStation games, you can feel the difference in the controller as you're walking on glass or metal or wood. So they could make some different things in Riders Republic to use that. And it would also be cool to see if they can tie in the adaptive triggers to this. They can make it harder or easier to pull the triggers, so maybe the sports will handle differently on different terrains. I think it's just going to be cool in general to see how the terrain impacts your riding in that area and how that's going to impact the tricks and the videos that people are going to be pumping out.
So this dev blog was centered around the terrain and the map itself, so we're heading back to another topic about the terrain. They mentioned that obviously these regions are not adjacent to each other in nature. They don't have the same altitudes, the same morphology, whatever that means. I honestly don't know. They don't have the same visual appearance. They don't have the same types of stones or vegetation. So with this game being just one map, we're not going to be changing worlds. Everything is going to be a one-stop shop on the one and only Riders Republic map for now. I am very, very curious to see how they morph all of these different sections together. At some point there is going to be a transition between Bryce Canyon and the next mountain next door. And they're not going, they're telling us right here, they are not going to act the same. They're not going to have the same vegetation. They're not going to have the same gravel. The soil's going to act differently. The snow might be a little icier in some parts and a little more powder in another part. How are they going to make a fluid transition from point to point? I'm really excited to see those lines, those mountain lines.
For that, I'm going to refer back to the map that was on the Riders Republic Reddit again, made by ContG01. And he took parts of the announcement video and tried to make that into a picture that kind of shows how they're going to stitch together. So to me, it seems like all of the different locations are kind of going to be clustered. And then in the center, there's going to be a main valley with maybe a road kind of leading between. So you got Mammoth Mountain on one side of Yosemite Valley, and then North Dome on the other, Half Dome across from that, and then Zion in the opposite corner. So I think a lot of these maps are going to have a central point where if you ride down, you can meet up and be at the base of all the other areas.
Right. I am just really interested. You mentioned that there might be a road or something separating the two separate biomes. I really want to see a little more than that. Just personally, I want to see like a big valley where it just slowly transitions and slowly fades from one mountain range to the next, so it's not a harsh stop. Oh, I'm in the narrow, coming down, making my way over to Mammoth Mountain. I'm going to cross this road and then boom, it's all snow and ice. I don't want that kind of harsh transition. I really hope that there is a gradual, you're going to get that really muddy section where the snow ends and then the gravel begins to start. The only last thing that I would like to wildly speculate with you about today is the fact that we might notice some abandoned relics all over the world. So, what are these abandoned relics? What do you think we're going to see in the game?
The relics are going to be interesting because I don't exactly know what they're going for with this. It says if you get close, you might see what they're all about, and they might hold a thing or two for you, so maybe they hold some rewards if you can actually get to them. I'm wondering if this is going to be their take on mountain stories, where there's going to be little mysteries hidden around the mountain. I think it would be awesome if there were some giant mysteries, kind of like Mount Chiliad in Grand Theft Auto, that takes weeks of the community trying to piece things together to actually get an answer out of it. But it will also be cool just to visit these different relics and, who knows, maybe have some fun challenges or some gear with them.
Yeah, I know the way that I play these games personally, it's a lot of sitting down with Mitch, having a beer or two, and just exploring the map. We're not chasing records in competitions or races, trick edits, whatever. We are simply just riding around the map and seeing what there is to see. And to some effect, that feels like a little vacation. We get to go and sightsee the map. That is absolutely one of my favorite things to do with you whenever we partner up and we're playing online together. All of my mind is just wrapped around, oh, what are we going to be able to see? What are we going to be able to find here? I feel like a kid waiting for Christmas Day, looking at their Christmas list and just guessing, oh, what did mom and dad get me? I know it's going to be great, but what is it? I want to know what these relics are, and I know that only time will tell, but man, am I excited to explore.
I can't wait to explore this map either, because I think there's going to be some incredible locations and some different trick parks that they sprinkle throughout too. They said they want to put their own touch, make some areas even better to ride and pull off stunts. But we also got another piece of news over the weekend. Red Bull put out an article where they interviewed Igor Manso, who is the creative director of Riders Republic, and they talked all about the multiplayer in the game.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot that I was planning to do this before we even got into the dev blog, but here we go. That Red Bull article talked all about the importance of multiplayer gaming and just how overarchingly important that is for the immersion level of a video game. Igor went on to say, what sets Riders Republic apart from anything we've seen so far is the social aspect of the game. He says the game is all about enjoying a vibrant outdoor sports playground and embracing the thrill of riding with your friends and other riders. This is a huge thank you to the community. I mean, you guys came out in droves and you proved that Steep was a beautiful ground to form communities, to form these relationships on the mountain before multiplayer even existed. I mean, we have been asking for more inclusivity, more abilities to play with one another up on the mountains, and Riders Republic just feels like that was the number one thing that they wanted to make happen. I mean, and if this channel, if our Discord isn't proof enough, the Steep community has formed their own communities. You know, we took it upon ourselves to get together and share all of our ideas and BS about the game, what we like, what we hate, you know, and just being courteous to one another. So having the ability now to sit down and say, okay, holy crap, I can join a ride with 50 other people and bomb down the mountain on mountain bikes. You know, you get a whole bunch of your friends to log on, you get into one of the races, and you just go and have the time of your life. I cannot wait to see the community edits and the community videos that come out of this where there are, you know, maybe 10 friends riding down the mountain together. Just think of the possibilities for all of those like red rum edits and all of those things that people are putting together on their own time. You have so many more people that you can include in these videos, and it's really gonna come off as a whole lot more genuine, a whole lot more realistic.
Yeah, with Steep, when it started off, it really wasn't about multiplayer. You could share some challenges with friends and, you know, have a couple buddies to ride along with, but the idea was more about going around the mountain and doing all of the challenges. So it seems like they're trying to shift the focus over to the social aspect of the game, where you can play with as many people as you want to. And it's going to be great to see the current community of Steep transition over to Riders Republic, and to meet all of the new players who are going to be joining us on the mountain in Riders Republic, hopefully entering some challenges, playing multiplayer matches with them, and just seeing all of the content that's created. They also talked a little bit about how the multiplayer works. If you're just free roaming, they're going to add people into your lobby that are doing the same type of sports or kind of in the same location based on proximity. And as you travel along, that'll pop in and out. And that's something that was there a little bit in Steep. Actually, a couple days ago, I was scouting locations for a video, pulling off some tricks, and then watched the replay. And when I angled the camera, I saw there was some dude just chilling in the paraglider above me the entire time. My first thought was, is that someone that I know from the community or just from all of the videos? Because people who are still playing the game at this point are probably well known. So it's kind of cool from, you know, playing different multiplayer games where you don't know anyone on the map to playing a game like Steep, where if I see an online username, I'm instantly thinking if I've seen them in a Discord chat or in a YouTube video or anything else.
Yeah, Steep has turned into a stream sniper's paradise, and that's not a bad thing at all.
And finally, the last little nugget that I found in this article that I don't think was mentioned before is that every hour a massive game event happens at a predefined location of the map. So once that notification goes out, if you can reach the zone during the event opening period, then you get to take part in that session and the race with over 50 players if you're on next gen, or over 20 players if you're still on the current gen, and they will all be on screen at the same time. To me, this sounds like the mass multiplayer races where you're going to have 50 people going downhill at the same time, and it's going to be, you know, once every hour and starting at a different place on the map. So almost like those GTA events.
Yeah, I really love that idea that this is going to be something special that you're not going to be able to do whenever you want. You are going to have to wait for a community ride to take place and to be notified that that is going down. I think that will maintain the novelty of it. It will maintain the wonder behind riding with 50 people. You're not going to be able to do that for a 20-hour play session non-stop, just lobby after lobby after lobby. Just like GTA, you're going to have your group of friends. You're going to have 4 of your friends chilling on the mountain, and then all of a sudden, oh crap, hey, I just got the notification. Let's go do this run. And, you know, just thinking back to GTA days when they started doing that and your phone started ringing to say, hey, we have something special for you right now. You have to join because it's starting in the next 5 minutes. I mean, we would drop everything. We would be in the middle of a race and we would be like, oh crap, yeah, we want to go and do this mission. I really like the urgency that they're going to put behind this. That being said, I'm also hoping that they're going to give us an option later down the road to, you know, maybe it's not 50 people, but maybe we can host a private race where it's 25, 30 people all together that we can pick and choose and ride these things together.
Yeah, I think these events especially are going to bring the community together because, you know, Nick and I could be riding around on the mountain, get that notification that something's starting in 5 minutes, so we'll fly over to the start spot, and then we're hanging out for a bit, seeing everyone kind of come in. I think it'll be awesome to be sitting, at the peak of a mountain and look left and you'll see a couple wingsuiters flying in. Look to the right, you'll see some snowmobilers coming up to the starting point, and you'll know like each of those is probably a group of friends coming up to start the race. So I think that's just going to be awesome, and it's going to really bring the community together.
All I can think about right now is if we're streaming and you and I are like, yeah, let's go join an event, and I said it earlier, someone's going to want to stream snipe, like, Unpen is going to join this race and do nothing but just try to take your bike down, Mitch.
Bring it, buddy. I am ready for you.
Well, I think that just about wraps up our devblog discussion. Again, devblog number 5 should be available in all regions as you're watching this now. Go ahead, head on over to ubisoft.com, find the Riders Republic page, and give that a once-over for yourself. We'll be back in 2 weeks with devblog number 6. We can't wait to see what they are going to unveil next. Mitch, of course, will be putting out a fresh devblog video as soon as it comes across your screen, so be on the lookout for that. Make sure you're subscribed, make sure you have that notification turned on so you can be one of the first to get the latest and greatest news coming out from the mountains of Riders Republic.
In honor of our slopestyle finals this weekend, we timed the weekly challenge perfectly. So right now we are covering the topic of slopestyle, and we got 5 different submissions here. So a lot of cool slopestyle fiddles. We'll kick it off with the first one that came from Lucas, and he is right at the edge of a rail. I love this angle. It's just below the rail looking up. This is the camera that you would see in the X Games, in the replay, watching the rider exit the feature.
And Lucas is taking full advantage of that pipe camera with those sexy Armada skis. More of that, please. The next one up, we have a cartoon Photoshop edit from the man Flair, hitting us hard with a Nick and Mitch slopestyle picture.
Man, this one is tasty. I just love the edit he put together, and the colors, the blue, the black, white, gray, just all fits together perfectly. The text curving around the mountain and the skier, the outline on the skier, it's
I am also just at a loss for words for this one. I am not lying when I say this is one of the screensavers on the brand new flat screen TV that is sitting to my right in my office. Well done, Flair.
Yeah, I think you're going to need a rotating slideshow like I do on my computer, because a ton of these weekly challenges are gorgeous. And this next one comes from Ski Maniac, and this angle is looking down the run. He is just about to exit a rail. But I love the blur that's on here. You kind of got the curved lights, and then I just love this X Games scenery and putting this competition at night, because those lights shining on the course with everything behind it being pitch black is just gorgeous, and it works so well in the videos and a photo like this one.
We talk about being real and trying to be as realistic as possible, and I don't think there's a part in the map that hits the realism as much as these toothbrush lights do when it's dark outside. You picked the perfect ambiance for the ski slopestyle Tartiflet Games event, because, look at it. The proof is in the pudding right here. It looks like there's mist. It looks like there's grains of snow flying through the air, and of course, this motion blur looks like there is just a ton of speed from the rider coming off of this feature. There's just so much character and so much energy that those lights and a motion blur like that can bring to a picture.
I agree, but the daytime doesn't look bad on this course either. We have 2 photos from Steepest Legend. In this first photo, he is doing a safety grab just over one of the rails in the 3rd feature in our slopestyle course. But I love that you can see the finish line, and it is way off in the distance. He still has 3 big air jumps to hit before he can cross that finish line and be down with the crowd, with the announcers, and all of the action.
Totally the other side of the coin from Ski Maniac's picture. The crystal clear ambiance just feeds so much more into it. This feels more like Steep. This is more like what I'm experiencing in the game. I'm just blown away. Those bright red black crows are just popping out at you with all of those blues, all of those whites. Well done. You guys all have such a gorgeous eye for color. I can guarantee you at one point in time, everyone that submitted to any of our weekly challenges, to any of the Tartiflet events, has played the mobile game Hue. And if you don't know, go download Hue.
And the final picture also comes from Steepest Legend, but we have shifted back to the nighttime. We are on one of the big air jumps, but now there are two skiers doing tail grab and a blunt grab, both at the same time. I love it. I love seeing two people in photos, of course, and pulling off tricks. They're framing the course nicely. And this reminds me of a couple of your submissions in the slopestyle where, you're riding, but you can also see another rider or two further down the track. It was really cool when I was even filming some spots for that location to see other riders attempting the slopestyle and seeing their names and knowing that they're entering the contest.
Yeah, and this photo also was featured on our Instagram story this week leading up to ski slopestyle. The entire post was centered around the color scheme that Steepest Legend picked. And yes, I also am a fan of having two riders in the same image, but man, two riders just isn't cutting it anymore. I cannot wait for 20. A big old thank you to everyone who submitted slopestyle pictures for this week's weekly challenge. Coming up next week, we have drags. You can submit your favorite pictures or videos featuring a big fat drag, whether it's your hand, your head, your backpack, or that one ski that just clips the snow. We don't care. We want to see it. Send us those buttes for next week's challenge.
And you can start preparing for the following week's challenge. The topic will be shadows, so thanks to Steepest Legend for coming up with that idea, and you can check out his example photo on screen right now.
Well, it's been a long episode this week. Of course, it was a dev blog review. Of course, we were going to talk. Of course, I was going to ramble on and on and on. Luckily, we only have one question this week, so let's get to it.
Our friend Flair asked, what is the first thing we are going to do in Riders Republic?
Well, I said it when we did our trailer watch through. The first thing I want to try and do is take a bike, one of those road bikes, across a tightrope. And yeah, I'm expecting for it to fail miserably right off the gate. Of course, I'm not going to first try it, but I think that's going to be a thing that we're going to have to save for a stream. We're going to have to do our first playthrough live so all of you guys can join us.
I think the first thing that we'll do is probably like when we started off with Steep and grab something that we can travel quickly and just fly over the entire map, see what locations there are, where we want to explore first, but we'll get distracted super quick, so we'll take off and immediately go back down to try and ski on something. Right after that though, we'll be trying to figure out the replay mode, if there is one, how it works, what camera angles. We do a ton of that, so that'll be a quick second.
Yeah, the first week of Riders Republic for Mitch and I is mostly work. We love sitting down in these games. I mean, yeah, I remember when we got the Steep beta, before it was even released publicly, we were sitting down on a phone call, both in the game. I don't know if we could connect and play with each other at that point, but regardless, we were sitting there exploring the same spots, using the coordinates to find the same exact features and trying to figure out what we could do with the replay editors, with the photo modes to make the content that we do. So that is definitely going to be our first hands-on experience, is figuring out how we are going to deliver the same caliber of content that we are doing in Steep now.
You're right. I actually found the first bit of Steep content we recorded. This video was unlisted and on our old YouTube channel from November 11th, 2016. Ooh. So that was about a month before Steep actually released. And it was the first intro teaser trailer to what the Tartiflet games would eventually become. And it was never published because we ended up switching channels, actually starting our new channel for that, which wasn't Nick and Mitch. But you can see we have the video. We'll watch it right now. What it looked like, how now I would say awful. I mean, it was great back at the time for what we could do, but just how far we've come, but we can also show you like all of the things that we were talking about when we were playing the beta.
Yeah, I mean, you have to stumble before you learn to walk and run. You know, this was the stumble.
All right, so we'll start this video off, and right at the top it says Brass Ballas Presents. That was our old YouTube channel with some friends from high school where we did some Grand Theft Auto videos, but Nick and I decided to split off and form another channel afterwards to focus on our Steep content. And then at the time it was actually called Steel River Gaming, so this title screen's wrong, and that old title screen is now wrong.
The Steep Games Free Park style competition.
We didn't find the Tartiflette yet.
Oh man, look at that transition pack. Holy crap. And I don't think you could take that GoPro HUD off of your replay videos right at during the beta, right?
You couldn't, so we had to leave that on. That was just kind of our test in progress. Here it is, Steep Freestyle Snowboard Competition, Snowpark to Bargee, which was the snow park you got in the beta. So that's where we were going to hold the first competition until we found a better location once the full game came out.
Okay, wait, hold on. Was that it? Was that what we passed off as a trailer back then? Was just one clip of the game and then a whole bunch of text screens? I mean, geez, oh man, we have come quite a distance.
I think that was even just a test between the two of us, which we do a lot because on our current channel we have about 100 public videos and then probably 200 unlisted videos that I'll work on something, send it to Nick, he'll give me feedback. So I think this was some internal testing that we were doing because there might have been an embargo at the time for the beta, so you couldn't even post content.
Very, very true. Well, I know one thing for certain, and that is we are super excited to have all of you guys along for the ride. We are definitely going to be streaming our first moments in the game, and you guys, like I said, you're going to be along the ride to see us figure out, formulate how the Tartiflette Games is going to make a smooth transition into a completely new title.
That's all we have for episode 45. We do have some other videos for you to check out. Of course, we have devblog number 5 up and running right now, so you can see all of the facts in that video. And then this Saturday, we have the TFG Slopestyle Finals featuring our top 10 riders. And I am not joking, these are some of the wildest slopestyle runs I have ever seen in this game.
Come back to the channel this weekend, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, for that top 10 finals. This is also going to be the final Tartiflette Games event before the Invitational, so you're not going to want to miss this one. If you guys would like to carry on the conversation after this week's episode, you can head down into the description, click on the Discord tab, and join us over there where you can talk to all of the members of our wonderful community. You can also follow us over on Instagram at NickandMitchYT for pictures and sometimes videos and all that good Instagram stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode 45 of the STEEPCAST. Episode 46 coming at you next Wednesday. We'll see you there. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
And we'll see yins on the slopes.